Hello my friends! Today we are gonna be building this beautiful website using React and styled components. It's a single page application where you can use all your components in one place. I believe that it's a really good practice for beginners or people who suffer from creating modern web designs, because as I always say to front-end or full-stack web developers, you can be really good at creating well-designed functions, algorithms, applications, but the first impression is the key. If the design sucks, nobody wonders what's inside. So that's why I try to show you how to create minimal and modern designs like this. And this design is fully responsive. After this video, you will see how easy to use styled components and create responsive designs with it. I hope you will like it. If you want to see more tutorials like this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And you can support the Lama Dev for future projects by using the join button or the link in the description below. Okay, if you are ready, let's get started. Okay, firstly I'm gonna install my React application. My subscribers already know, but for new visitors I'm gonna install from scratch. To do that, you can write here npx create React app and whatever you name your application. But if you do that, it's gonna install some unnecessary files like that, as you can see, file icon, logo, and inside our JS files, a lot of things here that we are not gonna be using. So to prevent this, I created a mini version of our application. If you go inside in the files, as you can see, it's totally clean. So how we are gonna install this? It's really easy. You should come here and copy this URL. Of course, you can fork this repository and work on GitHub, but you can download this branch locally also. So I will come here and I will say, let's delete this. And let's say git clone and single branch. And I'm gonna write my branch name, which is React Mini. So let's write here B and branch name. And I'm gonna paste my URL and I'm gonna install everything inside this folder. So I will say dot and enter. Okay, everything is here, but we don't have our dependencies or libraries. Let's install them. If you are using npm, you can write npm install, or if you are using yarn, you will just say yarn. So for this project, we are going to be using styled components. It's really easy to use. You don't have to create any CSS file, and the best thing is you don't have to write any class name. There's a small example here, but I'm going to show you later. It's really easy, don't worry. So let's install this library. I will say yarn add or npm install styled components. And here we have files, our images, icons, and here if I come assets, as you can see, we are gonna use different font family. As you know, I always use Google fonts, but in this project, I just wanted to do something different, so I'm gonna show you how to use different font family. So let's copy them, and inside my app, let's open public folder, and here I'm gonna create new folder, and I will say fonts. And inside I'm gonna paste these files. Okay, I can't paste, I'm just gonna move them. Before trying this font family, let's start our application and see what we have. I will say yarn start or npm start. Okay, hello world is here. So how I'm gonna use my font family? Let's come here and open up our index.html, and here inside style, I'm gonna say font face, and as you can see, you can provide your font family name here. I'm gonna use the same name. And for the URL, I'm gonna indicate my font URL, which is fonts and this regular one. Okay, but there is one more, which is bold here. I'm gonna use it also, so I will copy and paste it, and font family will be the same, but this time I will say font weight and it's gonna be bold. Let's change this URL. It's gonna be this bold one. Okay, we included our family. So how we are gonna use it? It's really easy. I will say font family, and it's gonna be its name. Let's see. I will open here, and as you can see, it has changed. Perfect. So I'm gonna close here, and let's open our app.js. So how I'm gonna style my elements? In the regular way, what we have been doing, remember? We were writing here class name and let's say container, and we were creating here our style file, let's say style.css, and we were writing here our class name, which is container, and our attributes here, let's say height 100 VH and background color, let's say red, and we were using like that. But this time we are gonna be using styled components, and it's gonna be inside our JS file. Only thing you should do is coming here and creating a component, const, let's say container component, and we are gonna be using styled. As you can see, it comes from styled components, and here I'm gonna write my HTML element, which is div, because we are using div here. And I'm gonna use backtick here, and inside I'm gonna write exactly the same thing we did here. I will copy and paste, and we don't need any class name or div here. I'm gonna write my container component. I will save, and let's see. As you can see, it's here. Perfect. Styled components is really useful that because it's inside our JS file, so our application doesn't have to go to any CSS file and implement everything inside this style. So it's much faster, and also we are not using any class name. So imagine you are using div here and container class name, and you are creating another component here, and when you forget this class name and use inside another component, it's gonna try to reach this style here. To prevent this mistake, using styled components is really good solution. I highly recommend it. So that's why I wanted to show you these components. Basically, it's awesome. So let's delete this and let's create our navbar. I will come here and create new folder. It's gonna be components, and first component will be navbar. And let's create our function. I will say RAFCE, and it's gonna create this component automatically. So how you can use this shortcut? Let's come here, extensions, and here it's an awesome extension. I highly recommend it. It's gonna be your time saver. Okay. Let's close here, and I'm gonna maybe increase this size. It's better, I think. So let's create our styled components here. Firstly, I'm gonna say const container again. It's gonna be styled, and I will say div, and inside let's say height 50 pixels, and I'm gonna change this div container, and here I will say navbar. So how I'm gonna use this navbar component? I will come here and delete this hello world, and I'm gonna import my navbar here. As you can see, it comes from components and navbar. So let's see. As you can see, it's here. Awesome. So I want to give some padding here from left and top, and here also. So I will come here and create another component, and it's gonna be my wrapper. And I will say padding from top and bottom 10 pixels, from left and right 20 pixels. So let's wrap our text here. I will say wrapper. If I save this, as you can see, we have space right now. So firstly, I'm gonna create one logo here and some menu. It's gonna include our pages. And here I'm gonna create a button. It's gonna be really simple navbar. So if I come here, for example, I'm gonna delete this later. If I say span and logo, and button. As you can see, they are together. How I'm gonna separate them? I'm gonna see this here and button here. To do that, I'm gonna use flexbox. So if I say display flex and justify content, space between. As you can see, it's at the beginning and it's at the ending. What else I can say? I can say space around, like that. As you can see, there are some space here and here. I can say space evenly. It gives even space here, here, and here. And I can say center. And all elements will be in the middle. Perfect. Let's change it again. It's gonna be space between. And let's create another containers. First one will be left side, which contains logo and menu. And second one will be our button here. So I will say const, let's say left, and styled and div. And I'm gonna say width 60%. So it's gonna contain 60% of this screen, like that. So after that, I'm gonna create my logo, const logo. I will say styled, and you can use here image, but I'm not gonna use any logo here. I will say h1 tag. So let's say font weight bold, and let's create our logo. I will say logo, and inside I'm gonna write my application name, which is agency. Let's see. Okay, I will give underline here. It's gonna look better, I think. Text decoration is gonna be underline, and I'm gonna give different color, which is crimson. As you can see, it's much better. It looks really nice. Let's create our list. I will say const list or menu. It's gonna be styled, and I will say UL, which is list. So let's don't write anything. I will replicate this. This time it's gonna be menu item, and it's gonna be LI, which is list item. So let's create some items here. I will say menu, and inside menu item, first one will be home. Let's replicate it, and it's gonna be features, services, let's say pricing, and finally contact. Let's see. Okay, as you can see, our left side is not horizontal. Our list is here and logo is here. So if I come here for the left side, and if I say display flex, it's gonna be horizontal. Oops, I didn't use this left side, I think. Okay, I forgot here. I will delete this span, and it's gonna be left side. Okay, so how can I center them vertically? So I will say align item center, and right now they are centered. As you remember, we gave 60% width here, so how I'm gonna separate them? As I did before, I will say justify content and space between. Okay, perfect. So I will do the same thing for this list. It's gonna be display flex. So it's gonna be horizontal right now. Awesome. But there is no space between these items. Let's give some. I will say margin right, 30 pixels. I can change this font size 20, and I will say font weight bold, and color will be gray. Okay, but I don't want to see these dots, so let's get rid of this style. So I'm gonna say list style, and it's gonna be none. Awesome. As you realize, our left side and this button are not centered vertically. I can do the same thing for them. I will come here, and for this wrapper, I will say align item center. Okay, it's here right now. Perfect. So let's change this button. I'm gonna create another component here. I will say const button. It's gonna be styled, and I'm gonna use button here. And let's say border 2 pixels, solid, and let's say black for now. We are gonna change it later. So instead of this span, I'm gonna write my button. And inside I will say join now or today. Let's see. Okay, let's change it a little bit. I will give some padding from top and bottom, from left and right, and background color, let's say crimson. And font color will be white. Let's see. Okay, nice. And font weight bold. And border radius, I'm gonna give some radius here. It's gonna be 10 pixels. Okay, so when I hover over, it's gonna show us our pointer cursor. So I will say cursor pointer. Okay, perfect. I just made this border color black to show you better, but it's gonna be white. That's because after we are gonna create here another container. It's gonna be a little bit different shape, something like that, and it's gonna be this red color. So we will be able to see this white border. Okay, so let's create another component here. I will open up these folders, and here I'm gonna say intro. Let's create our function. And it's gonna be container again. Let's create const container styled, and it's gonna be div, and I'm gonna give my height here. As you remember, our navbar is 50 pixels, and I wanna make this intro height 100%, but I should consider this navbar height also. So I'm gonna use calculate. So I will say height calculate, and it's gonna be 100 VH minus 50 pixels. So if I write here background color, let's say red again, and let's change here. And I'm gonna call my intro inside my app. Intro. Okay, as you can see, it's 100%. Perfect. So let's delete this color and let's decide what we are gonna do. Firstly, I'm gonna have some title here, some description text, and after that we can create some button or phone number text, something like that. And here I'm gonna create an image. To do that, I'm gonna separate this container. This one will be left side and this one will be right side, which includes only image. So let's do that. Let's copy this, and it's gonna be left, and this is gonna be right. To see them horizontally, I will write here display flex, and let's delete them and give some width, and width will be 60%. And for the right side, let's copy this, and here it's gonna be 40%. So this side will be a little bit bigger. So inside container, let's write them left and right. I will say just R here or here, L. Let's see. As you can see, L is here and R is here, 40%. But it's really close here. So I can give padding for this container. So let's say padding 20. Okay, it's better, I think. So for this left side, let's create our title. I will come here and say const title. It's gonna be styled and H1. And font size will be 60 pixels. Let's write here something. title component, and inside I'm gonna write my title. Let's see. Okay. But it contains all these 60%. To prevent this, I can give specific width for this title. So I will say width 60%. Oops, 60. Okay, it's better right now. So let's create our description. I will say const description, and it's gonna be styled, and I will say p tag. And here width again 60%, and font size will be 20 pixels. So let's write here after title, I will say description, and I'm gonna paste my description. By the way, it's gonna be capital, of course, it's a component. Let's see. Okay, I can give some margin here. I will say margin top 20 pixels. Okay, but as you can see, they are not centered. How I'm gonna center these elements here? It's really easy. As we always do, I will say display flex. But if you do this, all these elements will be horizontal, like this. To prevent this, I will say flex direction column. So it's gonna be vertical right now. So how I'm gonna center them? I will say align item center and justify content center. Right now horizontally and vertically centered. Let's create a button here and our company form. So they are gonna be horizontal. So I should create another div here. After this description, I will say const, let's say info, styled and div, oops, okay, and inside again 60%, and I will make them horizontal. Before writing other things, I'm just gonna use it. After description, I will say info, so I'm gonna create a button here. Let's say const button, styled and button. So let's leave it like that. I will say button, and I will say start a project. Okay, something like that. But I'm gonna create another div here that includes our phone number and a text here. So let's create it. I will say const contact. I will say styled and div again. So I'm gonna make it display flex, but flex direction will be column. That's because our phone will be here and text will be under this phone. So let's create our phone number, const phone, and it's gonna be styled, and I will say span, and color will be this pink color. So I will copy this and paste again. This time it's gonna be our text. Let's say contact text. And this time it's gonna be gray. So let's write them here after this button. First it's gonna be my div, contact, and inside my phone number. I'm gonna copy and paste my text, and after that my text, which is contact text. And I will say for any question or concern. Let's see. Okay. So how I'm gonna separate this button and contact div? I'm gonna use justify content. I will come here, and for the info I will say justify content and space between. Okay, perfect. In any case, I will write align item center, And I'm gonna give some margin here. I will say, let's write here, margin top 50 pixels. Okay, so let's change these styles for this button and these texts. I will come here and I'm gonna say padding 15 and background color will be dark blue and text color will be white. Like that. I can change this border radius, let's say 10 pixels, and font weight will be bold, like that. And I'm gonna delete this border none. But these letters are really close each other. I can separate them a little bit. I will say letter spacing, it's gonna be 2 pixels. Okay, it's better I think. And one more thing is gonna be our cursor pointer. Okay, it looks really nice. So what about these texts? I will make this font bold. Let's say font weight bold. And for this space, I can give 5 pixels, margin top 5. And that's all I think. It looks really nice. So we finished this left side. What about this right one? I'm gonna use an image here. So I'm gonna create image folder for my source. I will say image. So let's come here and remember our image folder here. I'm gonna select them and move to my VS Code inside image folder. Okay. Let's close it. We are gonna be using this woman. I will say import and I will say woman. So I'm gonna go to the image folder, image and woman.png. So let's use it, woman. I'm gonna create image component here, const image is gonna be styled and image, and let's say width 100%. So let's use it here. I'll say image, and I'm gonna write my source here, which is woman. Let's save and see. Here, okay, perfect. We have this beautiful woman here. But as you can see, there is an overflow here. To prevent this, you can write your container overflow hidden, but I wanna do this inside our application. Here, remember we have container, it includes our navbar and intro. I will say overflow hidden. In this case, it's gonna be only 100 VH and others will be hidden. Let's see. Okay, perfect. It looks really nice, but it looks a little bit empty. Now we are gonna change it. I'm gonna add here a shape. To do that, I'm gonna write here clip path generator and I'm gonna go to first website. Okay, so imagine this is our screen and you can create any shape here as a div. Like that, or you can choose any of them here. Or if you can't find anything you want, you can come here and choose custom polygon. And this time you can draw your own shape. So I'm gonna start with this right side. Remember, this is our screen here. And I'm choosing this right and top. And I'm gonna choose here, here, something like that, and here. So let's do that. I'll click here. As you can see, it's 100% and 0%, which means the very right side and top. And I'm gonna choose somewhere here. Like that. And here, and finally here. Okay, this is gonna be our shape. So let's copy this clip path. And I'm gonna come here and create new div. I will say const, let's say shape, let's say actually intro shape. And it's gonna be styled and div. And I'm gonna paste this here. And I'm gonna give background color. It's gonna be crimson. So let's use this inside our container. If I do that, let's come here, our website. As you can see, it's not here. That's because it's overflowing and it's under our application. But I want to see this here. To do that, I'm gonna make this position absolute and height will be 100% and width will be 100%. So it's gonna contain all this screen. So let's do that. I will come here and say width 100%. Height will be the same. And let's say position absolute. And I will say start from top 0 and start from left 0. Okay, I draw something like that, but I didn't like the shape. When I create before this tutorial, it was better, so I'm gonna just change it. Like that. So it's gonna look like this. It's better, I think. Of course, you don't have to do the same thing. You can draw here whatever you want. But we can't see our image here. So I will come and say z index. And it's gonna be -1. So in this case, it's gonna be before all these items. But I can make this a little bit fancier. I can give some shapes here, some circle, square, and we can give some animation. Let's do that. I'm not gonna do this here. I'm gonna create new component. And I'm gonna say animated shapes. Let's create our function. So essentially, we are gonna have 3 different shapes. So let's create them here. I'll say const. First one will be square. And it's gonna be style.div. Of course, I should import this. Okay. And here, let's say width 60, height 60, it's gonna be square. And I'm gonna give background color. And I'm gonna copy and paste my color here, this blue color. And I'm gonna give some opacity. It's not gonna be totally sharp. So I'll say opacity 0.7. So how I'm gonna position this square? For the beginning, you can put this anywhere. It doesn't matter, but I wanna see this behind this screen. It's gonna start somewhere here and it's gonna move all around this website. Not all around, but in just one direction. So I will say position absolute. And my position will be top -60. That's because our width is 60 and height is 60. So left will be the same. So I'm gonna give Z index again. That's because when this shape moves, I don't wanna make it cover this text or buttons or whatever. It's gonna be under these elements. Okay. Let's see this. I will come here and I'm gonna say square. I can delete this, I think. Okay. So I'm gonna import these animated shapes. Let's come here for the intro. After this right side, doesn't matter, that because it's absolute. I'm gonna paste here. Let's import. Okay, it's here. And let's save. Of course, we can't see anything because it's beyond the screen. But if I come here and say 0 and 0, for example, and as you can see, it's here. Perfect. Let's change it. Right now, I'm gonna give some animation. It's gonna start from here And I'm gonna give some transform and it's gonna move slowly like that. How I'm gonna do this? Let's create here animation. And my animation name, let's say square. It doesn't have to be same name. You can give whatever you want. And I'm gonna give 25 seconds. And it's gonna take 25 seconds. And its speed will be linear. It's not gonna slow down or speed up. I'm gonna add something else after this. So I will say keyframes. And my animation name, which is square. I'm not gonna deep dive into these animations. But if you want to more about these animations, you can check the description below. I created an amazing course for this. You can create your animations and you can learn more about these animations, transforms, transitions. You should definitely check it. Okay, so I will say 2, which means the end point. Remember, it starts from minus 60 pixels and 60 pixels. And we are gonna write here where we want to move this shape. And I will say transform. And here, translate. And we are gonna move this on the x-axis and the y-axis. On the x-axis, I'm gonna move this 100 VW, and for the y-axis, it's gonna be 100 VH. It really doesn't matter. You can say 1000 pixels, or 500, doesn't matter. And let's see. As you can see, it starts from here and moving like that. And it's under our text. And when it comes to here, it's gonna be disappear. That's because this shape is at index -1 also, so it's gonna be under this shape. Okay, perfect. But when this shape finishes this process, it's gonna stay where it ends. To prevent this, I'm gonna write here alternate. So it's gonna come back to initial state here. So it's not gonna do this just one time. It's gonna be infinite. As you can see, it's coming back. And after this point, it's gonna start again. Like that. Awesome. So what about other shapes? Let's copy this. And I'm gonna create a circle and a rectangle. So let's write circle. It's gonna be a little bit bigger. So let's say 100, and I'm gonna give border radius to make it circle. Let's say 50%. And its color will be this pink color. And I don't want any opacity. And let's give new position. Let's say 200 from top and minus 100 from left. Somewhere beyond this screen. As I said, it really doesn't matter where is the initial point or where they are going. You can arrange this for yourself. Okay, let's change this animation name. It's gonna be circle. It's gonna go to right side, but it's not gonna go to bottom. It's gonna be going to top. So I will say minus. And for the other, let's say rectangle, rect. And I'm gonna change here. And I'm gonna give different width. 50 and here 100. And it's gonna be green. Let's change it. And opacity will be, let's say, half. Something like that. And I'm gonna give new position. Let's say 400. And here 50. And I'm gonna change this transform. It's gonna be minus 50. So I will write here a div or fragments. And after square, I'm gonna write other shapes, which is circle and rectangle. Let's see right now. As you can see, it looks really awesome. So in this case, our website looks more professional. I really like it. So I can close here. we can use this component wherever we want. Okay, let's close it. And I'm gonna create another component here. I will say feature. I'm gonna close here and I'm gonna create my function. I will say my arrow function, and inside I'm gonna create firstly my container. Const container, and I'm gonna import my styled here, and it's gonna be div. And again, I'm gonna make this display flex. That because again, we are gonna have image and our text information. So let's make it container, and inside left and right side. I will change this left and right. And I'm gonna give width for left and right. It's gonna be 50% and 50%. Let's copy this and paste here. Okay. I will write them here. Left and right. Okay, this time I'm gonna put my image in the left side. So let's import this image. I will say import, and I will say font from my image folder and font.png. Okay. To use this here, I'm gonna create image component. Let's write this here, const image, and it's gonna be styled and image. So let's use this, and after we can give some size. So I will say image, I will close here, and I'm gonna provide my link, and it's gonna be font. Let's see. Of course, we didn't import here. Let's create another container. And inside, I'm gonna call my feature component. Okay, but as you can see, there's an error here. That's because we didn't cover this with any div or fragments. So I will open this here and close here. Okay, let's see right now. And as you can see, it's here. By the way, it's wrong image. What was my image? Let's check here. Phone is this icon. It can be app. Okay, this one. So let's change it. I will go to the feature and change this phone. It's gonna be app. Okay, let's see again. Okay, perfect. As you can see, it's a little bit big. So I will say with 80%. Okay, it's better writing. Right now, I'm gonna give some title here, and subtitle and description. And finally, we are gonna add a button. So I will come here and create my title, const title. And it's gonna be span. And it's gonna be subtitle and description. I will say p tag here. Okay, let's change them. Subtitle and description. And one more, it's gonna be button. Okay, let's write them here. I will say title, subtitle, description, and button. Description, and finally button. Okay, let's write here something. I will say good design, and I'm gonna go to another line. So I will say BR, and I will say good business. Let's see. Okay, it's here. But I wanna make this good bold, so I will say b tag, and good will be inside this tag. And same thing here. And for the subtitle, let's copy and paste our text here. And for the description, and for the button, I will say learn more. something like that. And I'm gonna create one more description here. It's too short, I think. I will paste one more. Okay, as you can see, 2 descriptions. So right now we can give some styles for them. For the title, I will say font size 70 pixels. And for the subtitle, let's say font size 24, and font style will be italic. And color will be something like that. Let's see. Okay, but as you can see, they are in the same line. I want to separate them, so I will use flexbox again. Flex direction will be column. For the right side, I will say display flex, flex direction, column. And I'm gonna center them, justify content center. Okay, perfect. I will give some space here. Margin top 30 pixels. Okay, nice. So what about this description? Let's come here and give some font size here. Font size 20. Color will be this grayish color, 777. And again, margin top. Okay, nice. So for this button, I will say width 150, and I'm gonna delete this border. I will say border none, and I will give padding top and bottom and left and right, and background color will be dark blue. Okay, I will change this color and give some border radius. So color will be white, and I will say font size 20, and border radius, let's say 20 again. Okay, perfect. I will give cursor pointer and give space here, margin top, cursor pointer. So I can do the same thing for this page. Remember this clip path I will use here, and I'm gonna use this point. It's gonna start from here. So how I'm gonna do this? Let's go to the app.js. Remember our intro shape here. Let's close here, and I'm gonna create one more shape. But we are gonna be using almost same properties here, so I can separate them. I can create common CSS. How I'm gonna do this? I will say const, let's say shape, and I'm gonna import CSS from style components. As you can see, CSS from style components. Okay. So I will open my backticks, and here, let's copy this common CSS and paste here. Okay, right now I can use this shape here or any other components. So I will say $sign and shape. It's exactly the same thing. If we check here, as you can see, it's same. Perfect. Let's create another component. I will copy this, and it's gonna be feature shape. It's gonna import this common CSS. I'm gonna change this color. It's gonna be pink, and I'm gonna change this polygon. But before, let's use it here. Okay, it came here that because its position is absolute and it starts from top 0 and left 0. So its base point is here. To prevent this, we should make our container position relative. So its parent will be this container. So I will say position relative. As you can see, it's here. So how I'm gonna change this point? This div will contain here, not this right side. So I will start from 0 and 0, and I will come this point. To do that, I will say 0 and 0, and this point will be 55. As you can see, 0, 0, 55. What about here? This time I'm gonna decrease here. Remember, it was 67, So I should make it 33, so it's gonna be 100 total. And here it's not gonna be 55, it's gonna be 0. Okay, if you are confused about these points, you can go to this clip path website and create your path here, and after that you can arrange for yourself. So we finished this page also. Of course you can give your shapes here. Let's come here, feature, and I'm gonna write here my shapes. Remember, animated shapes. And let's see. They are here right now, we can't see, but they will come here. Okay, they are here. Perfect. Okay, we can create another component here. I will say service. New file, service, and JSX. Let's create our function. I will close here and I'm gonna create my container. Const container. I will import styled. And it's gonna be div. And again, as we always do, display flags and right hand left side. Left and right. And again, width will be 50%. And for the right side, they are gonna be same size. Let's separate them like that. Okay, so I will write them here. Firstly, I will write my container and inside left and right. This time I will do something different. Firstly, we are gonna have some image here and we are gonna have a button, play button. When we click the play button, we are gonna delete this image and we are gonna show video. So let's create our image and video first. I will come here and say const image style.image and height will be 100%. Let's give our image here and my source. I'm gonna import my image here. I will say import. Let's choose our image. Which one was that? This, I think. Okay, how? I will say how from image and how. That's right here. And I'm gonna import this inside my app.js. I will create another container. And let's delete this. We are gonna create later. And I'm gonna import service. Let's see. Okay, it's here. So let's create our shape. It's gonna start from this point and it's gonna be straight. So I will come here and create another shape. It's gonna be service shape. This time this is gonna be 33 and again 33 because it's gonna end in the same point. So let's see. I hope it's okay. Of course I should import this here. Okay, perfect. I can change this color. It's gonna be different pink. Okay, so I can move this image a little bit. Let's say 100 pixels. I will go to the service and here for image, margin right, sorry, left, 100 pixels. Okay, it's nice. So what about this right side? Again, I'm gonna create title, description, and some cards here. But before, I wanna create some wrapper here, that because I'm gonna give some padding. So after right, I will say const wrapper style.div and I will say padding 50. And again, I will say display flags and flags direction will be column. It's gonna be vertical here, our title and other texts. Okay, let's use it inside our right side. And I'm gonna create my title. Const title it's gonna be styled .h1 and for description, and it's gonna be p tag. I will say font size 20. Let's write them. Inside wrapper I will say title, and I'm gonna paste here my title and description. Let's copy and paste here. Okay, let's see. Let's give some space here and change the color. I will say margin top. Where is our description here? Margin top 20. And color will be a little bit soft. Like that. Okay. Right now I'm gonna create a container here, and it's gonna contain our cart components, which we are gonna create right now. Let's separate them and create another component. Const cart component. Sorry, container. They are gonna be horizontal and justify content space between. Of course, again, margin top here, but it's gonna be higher. So let's write this container here, and we are gonna be creating new components. Okay, let's come here and create new component, and it's gonna be mini cart. And for this cart, we are gonna have container first, and inside this container we are gonna have an icon, so it's gonna be image, and after that we are gonna add our text. So let's write here something random. I'm gonna use lorem here. Okay, of course it's too long. I'm gonna add this somewhere here. Okay, it's enough, I think. So let's create our container first. I'll say const container styled and div, and here I will say width 100. I will give some padding, and our image and text will be vertical, so I'm gonna use display flex and flex direction column. Before writing anything else, let's create our image and text, and I'm gonna show you so you can see better. I will say const image styled image, and let's say width 20. It's gonna be a small icon. And finally, for text, again style dot, let's say p or span. Span is enough, I think it's just short text. I'm not gonna write anything here. We will see first. So I'm gonna import this here. I will say mini cart, and I'm gonna duplicate this. Let's see. Okay, they are here as you can see. But we don't have image. I forgot importing. So let's import. Import. What was the name? Let's check here. Search. Okay. I will say search from image and search. So I'm gonna use this here, source, and it's gonna be search. Let's check again. Okay, they are here. Perfect. Firstly, I'm gonna give some border here. It's not gonna be border, but it's gonna be box shadow. To do that, let's come here and write box shadow generator. I'm gonna click this one. And here, as you can see, it's a useful website. You can arrange your box shadow site here, position, blur and spread. And after finding a decent box shadow, you can just copy here and paste your style. But I'm not gonna arrange them right now. I already did it before. So I will come here and paste my box shadow. I will save and let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna center these items. I will say align item center. Okay, and I'm gonna give some space here. Let's go to the text, and I will say margin top just 10. Maybe I can center this text. To do that, you can write here text align center. Okay, nice. Okay, I can close here, and let's create a button. I will say const button styled and button. I will say width 180, border none, and I will give border radius 10 pixels, and background color will be dark blue, and font color is gonna be white. I will increase this font size, and finally I will give padding. Let's use it. After this container, I will say button, and inside I will say how it works. Let's see. Okay, I will give some margin top 50, and cursor pointer. By the way, this image is too big. Where is our image? Okay, we set height 100%, but we don't have height here. If I say here height 100% also, it's gonna be smaller. Or you can leave here empty and you can write 80%, 70%, doesn't matter. But it looks really nice right now. So one more thing I'm gonna add here, it's gonna be play button. Let's add. To do that, I'm gonna import my icon. So it's gonna be image, and it was play, I think. Okay. So it can be play, and we can create icon image. So I will come here and say const icon. It's gonna be styled and image, and let's say width 20. And I can give some margin between text and this icon, so I will say margin right 10 pixels. So let's use it, this icon and our image. I will close here, and I will provide my source, which is play. Okay, it's here, but they are not in the same line. We can make it display flags and align item center. Where is our button? Here. I will say display flags and align item center. Okay, perfect. So what I'm gonna do, when I click this, I'm gonna show here a video. To do that, I should remove this image first. So how I'm gonna do this? I will come here and create a use state. I will say const, and I'm gonna create a variable here. It's gonna be open or is open, doesn't matter. And also I'm gonna create set open, that because when I click the button, we are gonna set this again, and I'm gonna use state hook. Use state. And at the beginning it's gonna be false, because we are gonna see this image. It's gonna be closed. By the way, this use state comes from our React, as you can see. Okay, so I'm gonna show you one important thing here, and this is one of the best features of this styled components. We can use props here. What I mean by that? Basically, I can take this open and send my image as prop. So I'm able to reach this open right now. So if I go to my image here, only thing I should do is writing a condition. I will say display, and I will take my props here, props, and after that I'm gonna write my condition. If props and open, which we sent here, as I said, we can reach it. And I will say, if open is true, make this display none. Let's close it. And if I come here, as you can see, it's here. But if I make this true, it's gonna be display none. Awesome, it works. So how I'm gonna change this open? Let's take this set open and let's go to the button, and I'm gonna write here an event. I will say on click, which means when you click this, start this function. What we are gonna do? We are gonna set our open, and it's gonna be false. Sorry, it's gonna be true. It was false, and we are gonna open. And I'm clicking. As you can see, it's not here anymore. Perfect. When I refresh, it's gonna be true again. I will click. It's gonna be disappear. Perfect. So let's create our video component. After this image, I'm gonna create video. I will say const video. It's gonna be styled and video. We can use video in our HTML. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I will take this here and paste here. And this time, if the open is not true, it's gonna be none. Okay, let's give some height here. And I'm gonna use this video after my image. Let's paste here. And I'm gonna use my source here. Source, of course, you can download any video and move inside your images or assets, but I'm gonna just use link. Let's see. Of course, we can see that because we didn't send our props. Okay, it's here. Perfect. So I'm gonna write some properties here. Firstly, it's gonna be autoplay. So we don't have to click to play this. It's gonna be loop. When it ends, it's gonna start again. And one more thing, it's gonna be controls. That we can control our video. We can stop or increase or decrease this volume. Make this full screen. Okay, so let's give some position for this video. I will say position absolute. If I say top 0 and bottom 0, and when I say margin auto, it's gonna be centered vertically. But I wanna see this somewhere here, so I will say right 0 also. Right 0. Okay, it looks here that because we didn't give position relative for this left side, as we did before, remember? If you are using position absolute, the parent should be position relative. So in this case, it's gonna be here. So if I refresh the page, this woman is here. I will click how it works and awesome. It looks really nice. So let's create another component. It's gonna be price. I'll say price JSX. Let's create our function. We are gonna have a container. Let's create, I'll say const container. It's gonna be styled. I should import first. Okay. And div, I will say height 100%. And display will be flex, because we are gonna add 3 cards, something like that, and it's gonna be display flex. And I'm gonna center them, just y content center. Okay, let's create another component and put inside our container. I will say price card. JSX, of course. And I'm gonna create my function. So what we are gonna have here? Firstly, we are gonna have container. Let's create this first, const container. let's write here hello for now. And I'm gonna call this here price container, price cart, and I'm gonna duplicate this. Okay, I will close them and we don't need them. Okay, let's go to the app and create one more container here. And it's gonna be, let's delete this, and it's gonna be price. Let's see. Okay, we have 3 cards here. Let's decide what we are gonna have. Firstly, we are gonna have price container for each card, and it's gonna contain our price and our text. For example, $20 per month or $10 per year, something like that. And after that, we are gonna have our type. It's gonna be something like button. It's gonna say business plan, regular plan, something like that. And after, we are gonna have our list, which we are gonna provide to our user. And finally, we are gonna have join button. You will understand better. So I will say price container. And I will say dollar, and I'm gonna create a text here. I will say price, and let's say 20, and I'm gonna write here per month. Okay, why I create another component here? That because this dollar and this text will be regular, and this is gonna be a little bit bold and font size will be bigger. So after that, I'm gonna create here type button. Let's say basic plan. And finally, we are gonna have list. And for each list item, I'm gonna write here some sentences. I will just copy and paste actually. I don't wanna waste time. Okay, something like that. And finally, after this list, I will create a button. And it's gonna say join now. Okay, let's create them. Price container, price, type, list, list item, and button. Okay, let's say price container and type, list, list item, and button. Did I miss something? Okay, price here, and I'm gonna move this here. Okay, let's change them. It's gonna be div, price is gonna be span, type will be button, our list, list item, and button. Okay, we can give our styles right now. For my container, I will give some padding, and after that, I'm gonna give this same box shadow. Remember, in our mini cart here, I'm gonna copy this and paste inside my price cart. Okay, let's see. Okay, awesome. I will give background color. It's gonna be white. That's because we are gonna use shape again, something like that. I don't wanna see this inside our cart, so it's gonna be white. So I will say border radius, 10 pixels, and again display flex, and flex direction column. Everything will be vertical, and I will center them. Okay, we can't see anything right now, but we will see after arranging everything. For the price container, I will say display flex. Okay, something is wrong here. Forgot my container here. It's gonna be here. Let's see. Okay, perfect. So what about this price? This 20. Let's come here, and I will say font weight bold, and font size will be big, really big, like that. I can center these items, so I will come here and display flags and align items center. Okay, nice. And for this type, let's give some padding, and I will give some margin from top and bottom. So I will say margin 10 pixels and 0 pixels, and border, let's say 1.5, solid and crimson. Solid, and this is pixel. Okay, something like that. And let's change this font color. It's gonna be crimson again, and background color will be white. Let's give some border radius 20 pixels. Okay, it looks really nice. So what about this list? I can delete this list style. So I will say list style is gonna be none. So what about these items? I will separate them a little bit. Margin 30 pixels, and from left and right 0. Okay, nice. And for my button, border none, background color dark blue, and font color will be white. Font size, let's say 16. I will give padding and border radius. Something like that. I can make this bold maybe. Let's come here. Okay, nice. I can separate these cards, so I will come here, margin right, let's say 50. But it contains whole screen here. Let's come here. I will say align item center. And it's gonna be centered. Perfect. It looks really nice. So what I can do, I can change this prices. Let's come here and give some props. Price, I will say 10, and I will give type. And it's gonna be basic plan. I will copy this, and for others, let's say premium. And for this, it's gonna be advanced. $20 and $30. So I can take these props. I will say price and type. And instead of this 20, I can write my price. And for this plan, I will say type. As you can see, 10, 20, 30, and basic, premium, advanced. Perfect. So what about our shape? It ends from here, so we can use it. I will go to the app.js, and I'm gonna create another shape. Of course, you can separate these shapes. You can create another component, but it's okay for now. I will say price shape. And let's change this color. It's gonna be crimson. I'm gonna use this here. Okay, let's change this polygon. It's gonna be 33, 0, 100, and 100, and 67. As I said, don't worry about this. After a couple of examples, you will understand. Okay, perfect. Let's look at again. It looks really nice. Okay, let's create our last page, and it's gonna be contact. I'll say contact JSX, and one more, it's gonna be our footer. It's gonna be a really small component, JSX. Okay, let's create them. I will save them, and I'm gonna write here. Let's copy and paste. And we are not gonna use any shape here. Instead, we are gonna write our components directly. Contact here and footer. Okay. I will close here and other things. Let's create our contact container. Firstly, I'm gonna give wrapper here. That's because I'm gonna use some paddings. I don't wanna distract our container, so let's create them. Styled and div, and for my wrapper. Okay, so firstly I'm gonna separate this again. This side will be my form container, and this side will include my address. So let's create form container here, and address container. Firstly, I will give here background, and it's gonna be an image. I will copy and paste my URL. Okay, I should give height here 100%, but I can't give 100, that because we have footer also. So let's say 90%, and my footer will be 10%. Okay, let's see. Okay, nice. As you can see, here is space. Perfect. So what about my wrapper? Let's say height 100%, which is this container. Oops. Height 100. And I will give some padding here. Display flags as always. And I'm gonna center them. Okay, let's give size for them. For the left side, it's gonna be 50%. And right side will be the same. So let's write them here. Form container. And address container. Okay, something like that. Let's create some form inside our form container. So I will say const form styled, and it's gonna be form, our HTML form. So I will say height 250, and it's gonna be display flags, align item center, and justify content center. So basically it's gonna be a form here, but I will separate this form. This side will be our name, email, and subject, and this side will be our message and send button. So how I'm gonna separate this? Let's create two other divs. Const left form is gonna be div, and right form, of course, styled. So I will say 100% display flags and flex direction column. And if I say justify content and space between, we are gonna separate them, and others I'm gonna add later. And for the right form, it's gonna be the same. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna write them here. Left form. And right form. And inside I'm gonna create my inputs. I will say const. It should be inside our form here. Const input. And let's say styled input. I will say width 200 pixels. And I'm gonna create text area for our message. Let's say text area. Because it's not gonna be input, it's gonna be a little bit bigger. Text area 200, and let's give some height. Not 100%, but 60 is enough, I think. Let's see, I'm gonna write here 3 inputs. Let's give placeholder for this. It's gonna be your name, your email, and here subject. Now for the right side, I'm gonna add my text area. And placeholder, let's say your message. Let's see. Okay, but it's not here. Something must be wrong here. Okay, we didn't use form. It's our form container, but I forgot writing form. I will cover this and let's see. Okay, perfect. As you can see, there are just 5 content, space between. We are gonna arrange them right now. Let's come here. First, I can give some margin for, because it's really close next to it. So I will say margin right 20. Something like that. Let's take care of our inputs. I will just give padding 20. I can do the same thing for text area. Okay, it's much better right now. So what else I can do? I can add here button. So let's create const button, styled and button. I don't want to do the same thing again and again. It's ordinary button. I will just copy and paste, and I'm gonna use this under my text area. And I'm gonna say send. Okay, awesome. By the way, you can create button component. That because we are using same button everywhere. But anyway, what else I can do? I can add here a title inside my container, this form container. Let's come here. After form container, I'm gonna create title. Styled.h1. So let's use this first, and we can give some margin after if we need. Title, and it's gonna be questions, and I'm gonna give break here, and after I will say let's get in touch. Let's save and see. Okay, so I can give some margin. I will say margin 50. Okay, but there's too much space here. Maybe I will say margin top 0. So it's gonna be only from left, right, and bottom. Perfect. It looks really nice. So what about this address container? Firstly, I'm gonna import my icons. I will say import. First one will be map from image and map png. And 2 more. Let's check out here. You have phone and send. Let's change them also, and let's use it after. Okay. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create address items. Each item contains one icon and one text. So I will say const address item styled, and it's gonna be div. Of course, I'm gonna make this display flags and column, that because they are gonna be vertical, and align item center. Okay. And for address item, it's gonna be display flags. They are gonna be horizontal, our icons and texts, and align item center. So let's create our icon. Image, and this is gonna be span. Let's say text. Width will be 20, and for my text I will increase my font size. Let's say 20. Let's use them first. I will come here and create address item, and first one will be icon, and source will be my map, and after I'm gonna write my text. Let's write here some fake address. Okay, I will duplicate this, and it's gonna be phone, and this is gonna be send. I will create two texts here, two numbers, and here two emails. Let's delete them. Okay, let's see. Okay, perfect. We can separate them. Let's go to the address item, and let's give some margin here. I will say margin bottom 50. Okay, I can give margin here, and for these texts, for icon, margin right 20, and for text, margin right 15. Okay, it looks awesome. So what about this footer? I'm gonna create container and wrapper, because I will give some padding, and after that I'm gonna create list here. It's gonna contain some links, and finally our brand. Let's do that. For footer, I will say container and wrapper, and first site will be our list, and it's gonna include some list items, which is our links. Let's say quite support API, and let's say community. And finally, after this list, I'm gonna write my brand. Let's say copyright or brand, whatever you say. I will say Lama Dev, and this copyright sign. I will just copy this. I don't know how to create. Okay, let's create them. Const container and styled, and div. Actually, I can create them first. My wrapper, list item, and copyright. It's gonna be div ul li and span. Okay, let's give our styles. Firstly, it's gonna be height 10%. That because remember in our contact it was 90, and it's gonna be 10. Let's give background color 111, and text color will be, let's say, light gray. So for my wrapper, I'm gonna give my padding, it's gonna be 20 pixels. Of course, I will say display flex, they will be horizontal, and justify content, space between. That because our list will be here and Lama Dev will be here. Okay, let's take care of this list. Padding 0, margin 0. As I said, it has default margin. To prevent this, we should write 0. So I will say list style, and it's going to be none. And of course, horizontal. So this li, I can give margin for right, let's say 20 pixels. And for the copyright, I'm not gonna write anything. Let's see. Okay, it's really basic. We can change this color, we can try crimson. It can be like that, or dark blue. So whatever you say. It really doesn't matter. It looks nice. So we finished this desktop version of our website. It looks really nice. So let's take care of our responsive design. Okay, let's open our console. And if you click here, you can toggle your device. And as you can see, this is our phone. And our application is not responsive. So let's handle that. I will shrink this and I will come here. Firstly, we are going to handle this navbar. I will open up my navbar. And for menu, let's make this 100% and we can see better. When we are in this device, I don't want to see this menu. So how I'm going to do that? It's really easy. Only thing I should do is using here media query. To use this, you will write media, and I will say only screen. And I'm gonna write my condition here. I will say max width, and this is gonna be 480 pixels, which is small devices. So I will say display none. Let's see. As you can see, it's not here anymore. It's really easy to do. Of course, you can write here for tablets, for any other screen sizes, but for this tutorial, it's totally enough, I think. We are gonna be using this size. So I will copy this and I'm gonna open up my intro. Okay. As you remember, it was display flex and they are horizontal. So I'm gonna change it. So it's not gonna be horizontal anymore. I will say flex direction and it's gonna be column. As you can see, it contains this screen right now. So I don't need to see this image anymore. So I'm gonna delete this right side, which includes my image. So it's gonna be display none. Okay, it was already here. So I made this display none. So what about this text? For this left side, remember our width was 60%. So I'm gonna change it. It's gonna be 100%. Something like that. So I can make height 100% also. Okay, let's take care of this title. So I'm gonna go to the title and I'm gonna paste this and I will say with 100% because it was 60. So I will do the same thing for description and for this info. Let's see right now. Okay, it's much better. I will go to the title and I'm gonna say font size, let's say 50. Okay, perfect. So I can make this display column also. Let's come here and flex direction. It's gonna be column. Okay, I can separate them. Let's come here for this bottom, for example. I will say margin bottom 20 pixels. Something like that. Awesome. It looks really nice. So what about this page? Let's open up our feature. So I will do the same thing here. Flex direction will be column. Let's see. Okay, I can delete this left side. I will say display none. Okay, so I can give some padding here. Let's say padding 30 pixels and 20 pixels. So I will resize this right side. Let's go to the right and I will say with 100% because it was just 50%. Okay, we can see them right now. I will decrease this title. It's gonna be maybe 50. Something like that. Awesome. It's that easy. So what about this page? It's gonna be a little bit harder. That's because we have video here. So I'm gonna do something different. But before, let's take care of this container. I will go to the, what was the name? Okay, service. I will come here and make this column. And I'm gonna delete this left side because we don't need this image anymore. But if I do that, we will not able to see our video anymore. We will take care of this later, don't worry. So what about this right side? Where is our right side? Width will be 100%. Let's see. Okay, perfect. So we have wrapper here, remember? I'm gonna change it. I will decrease this padding. It's gonna be 20. Okay, and I will say with 100%. Okay, it's still large. That's because of these cards. Let's open up our mini cart. And I'm gonna change this size. It was 100 pixels. I'm gonna reduce this. It's gonna be, let's say, 50 pixels. And for these texts, I will say font size, let's say 14. Okay, there is something wrong. Maybe I can delete this. We don't need it. Ah, okay. Perfect. By the way, I don't want to see this shape. It looks a little bit ugly in my mobile phone. So I will go to the app.js. Let's close them for now. And open up our app.js. And here, remember, our service is here. What I'm gonna do is deciding whether I'm using desktop or mobile phone. How I'm gonna do this? I'm gonna say const small screen and I'm gonna use my window here. And I will say screen, and if I say width here, as you can see, we can reach our height, width and other properties here. I will use width. And I'm gonna say if it's smaller and equal than 480, it's gonna be true. Otherwise, it's gonna be false. So in this case, I can use this variable. I will come here and for my service, I'm gonna use a condition. I will say, if it's small screen, don't use this service shape. So I will say, if it's not small screen, show me this shape. Let's see. As you can see, it's not here anymore. Of course, you can use here use state hook and use effect, and you can listen your window. But we don't need this in this scenario. It's totally enough. So what about our video? When I click this, I'm gonna create here a model. And middle of this model, I'm gonna add my video here. Let's do that. Let's go to the service, and here, after everything, actually, I will say const model, and I will say style.div, and it's gonna contain all screen. So with 100 VW, and height will be 100 VH. So I will say position absolute. So it's gonna contain all my screen, top 0, left 0, and background color. It's gonna be black, but I'm gonna reduce the opacity, so I can use here RGBA. It's gonna be 0, 0, 0, which is black, and my opacity will be 0.5. So I can use this in my component. After this, let's create here a condition. By the way, I'm gonna use the same thing, so I can copy this and paste here. And my condition will be, if it's small screen and if it's open, show me my model. So let's write this here. If it's small screen and also if it's open, show me the model. And inside this model, I'm gonna create a video. Of course, we are gonna change it. Let's write same properties here. I will copy here and paste my new video. Let's try first. As you can see, it's here. I will refresh the page. It's closed. I will click and it's gonna be here. Of course, we are gonna arrange this. Let's go to the video. By the way, I'm gonna copy this media query, and for my video I will paste here. So if it's small screen, I will say make this width 100%. Okay, perfect. But how I'm gonna close this video? So I'm gonna create new button here. After my video, I will say close button. We are gonna create this component now. So I will say close. So what I will do is writing here my click event on click, and I will say set my open again and make it false. It's really easy. So let's create this button here. I will say const close button styled, and it's gonna be button, and I'm gonna write my style here. I will say position absolute, and background color will be white. Let's give some padding. I don't want any border. And finally, border radius is gonna be 5 pixels. Let's see. Okay, we can't see that because we didn't give any position. Let's say right 5 pixels, and top, let's say 30. Something like that. It can be here or whatever you set this position. Okay, so I will click, and as you can see, it's closed. I'm opening and closing. Perfect. So what about these prices? Let's go to the price. I will copy my media query. Let's choose this and I'm gonna paste for my container. And as always I do, I will say flex direction column. Let's see. Okay, they are really huge right now. We are gonna change them. Let's go to our cart. Price cart. Okay. Let's come our container and paste our media query. And as you can see, we have margin right. That's because it was horizontal, but this time we are gonna say margin bottom. And also we can reduce this padding. Let's do that. I will say margin right 0. But this time we are gonna have margin bottom. Let's say 10 pixels. And finally, padding will be just 10. It was 20. I will say 10. Let's see. Okay, something like that. So let's go to the price. We can reduce this size. Font size will be 30 pixels. Like that. So what else we can do? We can delete this type. It's not necessary. Display none. Let's come here for these items. I will say margin 10. It's not gonna be 30. And I can decrease this font size. Okay, awesome. So what about this button? I will paste here and I can decrease this and this padding. So I will say font size 12 and padding will be just 5. Okay, perfect. It looks really nice. And we have only this contact page. Let's open up. I will say contact. Okay. We don't need to change here. We don't have anything there, but we can change here. Firstly, I will say flex direction. It's gonna be vertical. And for this form container, it was 50 pixels, percent, it's gonna be 100%. So for title, margin was 50. Let's decrease this. Margin will be 20. Okay, we can't see anything right now. Let's continue. For this form, it's horizontal again. I will say flex direction column. Like that. So this left form, height was 100%. Let's decrease this. Height will be 50%. And we don't have margin right anymore because they are vertical. Margin right 0. Okay. For the right form, it was 100%. Let's make it 50%. I will come here and padding will be just 5. And same thing here. I will copy this and paste here. And one more thing. I can give margin. That's because we don't have any margin here. So I will say margin top 20 pixels. Okay, perfect. And for this button, let's come here. Oops. I will copy this media query first. And padding will be 5. And font size will be, let's say, 14. Okay, perfect. So we finished our form, I think. Let's take care of this address container. I will come here. Width will be 100%. Like that. And for each item, I will say margin bottom, not 50, it's gonna be 20. They are gonna be close. And for this icon, I can decrease this width. Let's say 15. Okay. So what about this text? I will say font size 14. Okay, nice. I didn't give margin here. Where is my address container? Okay, I will say margin top 20 pixels. Okay, it's better, I think. So I can see my footer here. Let's make this 75. We can see better. Okay, it's here. So I'm gonna decrease these numbers. Let's open up our footer. And what can we do? We can decrease this padding. It's gonna be 10 pixels. Okay. For this list item, margin right will be a little bit small. Let's say 10. Like that. And font size maybe a little bit smaller, 14. Okay, nice. So what about this text? I can do the same thing here. I will say font size 14. Okay, awesome. So I will make this 100% again. And let's check last time. Our introduction, feature, and the video page. We can see our video here. We can open and close our prices, and finally contact page. It looks really nice. It was quick responsive design tutorial, but you can change any other things and you can give other breakpoints. If you want to see your images, you can make this a little bit smaller and you can add somewhere here or at the beginning. It depends on you. But for this tutorial, I just wanted to show you how to do that. Let's close it. Contact, prices, video page, and others. Awesome. Okay, we finished our project. I hope you liked it. If you learned something new today, please like the video and leave a comment, even just a word. It really motivates me. And also you can support the channel for the future projects. You can use join button or the link in the description below. And don't forget to follow Lama Dev social media accounts. I hope I will see you in the next tutorial. Goodbye.